Hello folks, hope you're well. Right, for those of you that pop in and out of the channel from time to time regarding the horse racing side of things, I've got one for you there now. Some of you may remember that I put on a message a week or so ago now that I'm trying to get some well-known people on the Q&A side of things. And I mentioned that I've approached, through third parties, Lee Mottershead from the Racing Post. At this stage with no joy, they've never gotten back to us, which is probably not surprising. It's what those in the media do, but we may keep trying. But I read something in the Racing Post yesterday, and I'd just like to bring people's attention to it. You may have read it yourself, you may not. If you've not, I'll talk you through it. There's no notes here or anything else, so I might get bits wrong, but I'll give you the general overview on what I read. I found it really a bit disappointing, and it comes the day before the Gambling Commission convened in Parliament today regarding these affordability checks and whatever that the Bookmakers are holding us all to ransom with. Yeah, there was a piece in the Post yesterday. They've been doing something for a week or so now about black market gambling. And I'm gutted. I used to be a member of the Racing Post and I gave it up. The subscription's pretty expensive and I knocked it on the head a few months ago. So you can't get into any of the pieces. You read the first 4 or 5 lines and you can't read the rest. They've been doing something for a week, maybe a fortnight now. And I've always been disappointed because they keep mentioning these black market sites. They mention that there's a lot on WhatsApp, but nobody anywhere tells you what they are. Now, I know we shouldn't be betting on the black market, and in an ideal world, I wouldn't want to be. And the problem with the black market is, I mean, they moan about non-regulation, but one of the problems with it being not regulated is that you can win and possibly not get your money back. Having said that, if you look at, is it Canberry, I think he's called, you look at his site and he's got story after story after story of people joining a betting site like maybe a Ladbrokes or a Corals or a Sky Bet, having a bet or two, winning pretty handsomely, sometimes only to a couple of £100, and you can't get your money out of them for love of the money. They'll close your account down almost immediately, and unless you provide every form of identity in the world, and sometimes even more, they just withhold your money, which is just crazy. It's the way things are going. Those that follow the channel will know I've done a couple of videos, one a week or two ago, one probably about 3 or 4 months ago now, about how we get in the TV stations, the racing channels, and ITV Race, that's ITV Racing, the Look on Sunday, and everything to do with racing TV. The one they used to run on Sky Sports Racing, and they're all asking us to sign these petitions to go into Parliament, to go into the MPs that run it all, to sort of say that we're being persecuted, we shouldn't have to show IDs and bank balances and so on and so forth. It's wrong, and you're not asked to do it in any other walk of life. It's a pastime when all said and done. It's a pastime that we all like. We should be able to do it as we want to. You know, we can go into these betting shops, we could go on the machines, what they call the crack cocaine machines, and put as much as we wanted in. I know they brought the limits down a hell of a lot now, but we could. We can still go online and put God knows how much on the fruit machines online, and they let us do it. It's only the horse racing where they want even more documentation, and more importantly, it's only the horse racing where when you're doing well, they close accounts down. Or, well, firstly they restrict you to what you can have on, then they close accounts down. And as I've said, I've never wanted to put my name to any of these things where things go into Parliament on behalf of the bookmakers, because I think the bookmakers want it all their own way. They want us to sign these things so as they don't have to ask us for more ID and bank statements, which means more of us will carry on betting with them rather than the many of us that are walking away in droves because we feel it's unfair to be asked for our personal information. They want us to stay with them, so they want us to bat on their behalf so as we can stay with them and they can keep taking our money. But at the same time, if we're winning punters and we're doing well, they want to restrict us and close our accounts down. So for me, the bookmakers want it all ends up. Anyway, to that end, as I say, I approached Lee Mottershead about 10, 12 days ago to ask him to do something on the channel. We've heard nothing. And one of the reasons why is probably because he's been really busy. I think he's fronting this drive by the Racing Post to maybe, now it seems, expose these underground betting sites, these WhatsApp sites. And to that end, there's one he's targeted. It was in the print section of the Racing Post, I think yesterday. It might have been today. I read it on the internet, so it might be out today. And the company's actually called The Post, if memory serves. It's either Post or I'm sure it's called The Post. Now, being called The Post, I suppose you could say is the tie-in to the Racing Post. They might be being a bit naughty then, a bit stupid, using the name of the betting site as the Post because they might be hoping people will associate it with the Racing Post, think it's that bit more above board, and bet with them, although, no, I think you'd have to be a fool to think that, but maybe there are fools out there. I mean, we know there's fools out there. Many people bet with idiots like Sandrovic, so we know there's fools out there. But anyway, the Racing Post have carried out some kind of sting. I've listened to the first 2 tape conversations. I think one's about 11 minutes, one's about 6. And within a minute, I could tell it was Lee Mottershead himself on the phone. And he's ringing this site, and it's a WhatsApp site. And the guy that he's speaking to, he's been in the racehorse ownership, so he's pretty known to horse racing. I think he's had some horses with Spiller. I think Spiller's recently retired from training. He's had some with him, I think. And anyway, he's the front man for this organisation. The guy that owns the company is called Dave. Bit vague on the surname. We don't know what his surname is, but he's called Dave. They say they've got about 1,300 customers thus far. They want to take it to about 1,500, and that'll do. They've got 3 phone lines, one for the guy that's fronting it, trying to introduce people on board, one for Dave, and the other phone lines for 10 people they've got working in offices there putting your bets on. And it's all done via WhatsApp. Anyway, they had a promotion running for Cheltenham, and they said the promotion was you put in anything you want, you deposit whatever you want, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, they'll double your money, they'll double your stakes. And that was the joining bonus, which is the most extravagant I've ever seen, and I don't think you have to turn it over X amount of times either. So you put £1,000 in, they'll match it to £2,000. And what they do is they take the best prices, I think he said, from, I think they look at 365, Hills, Sky Bet and Paddy Power, and you find a price that you want for any horse, whichever has the best price. I think you take a photograph of that price. You go on Bet365. If you find a horse called Frankel at 3-1, not that you ever would, you put Frankel up. You choose Frankel at 3-1. You put your stake in there, say 50 quid, 100 quid, whatever it may be. You don't place the bet. You take a photograph of that bet. You put it onto WhatsApp, and then you WhatsApp them the photo, and they say yes, your bet's on. The ticket, yes, your bet's on, and that's the way they operate. Now the guy that's running the thing, that's fronting the thing, says of the 1,300 members, many of the members are from the racing industry. They're actual trainers and owners, and it's trainers and owners that can't get a bet on. And I've been reading in the Post these last 2 or 3 months, there's many owners there saying it's absolutely crazy. One of the reasons I bought horses was to have a bet, and now I can't get a bet on myself. And I've read a couple of owners say, I've not been successful, I've not been winning money, or I've very rarely won, but because of what I want to put on, and because of the legislation out there, they're asking for bank statements and so on and so forth, and I'm just not going to give them. I don't agree with it, and I don't feel I should have to give me bank statements. But they're saying it's taking the fun out of racing, and it's meaning we can't place a bet. And I'm full of sympathy with them. And I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, well, the Post are doing this hatchet job on the Racing Post, on the betting website, the Post, and I'm thinking, well, I'll tell you now, I mean, if this company is set up, it's set up to obviously they want to make money themselves, but they're trying to let people who can't get a bet on elsewhere get a bet on. You've got to assume if it's people in the industry betting with them, we don't know this, but if it is, they've got to be reasonably above board. They've got to be a company that are paying out. Otherwise, you wouldn't have owners and trainers on there. You wouldn't have thought. And you've got to think to yourself, if it really is owners and trainers on board, I think they're going to be really unhappy with the part the Racing Post are playing in getting this site shut down, because that's what's going to happen. They're no doubt going to get shut down, and maybe the owner's going to get done. And I think to myself, well, I understand why they're doing it, because there's a link there to the Post, although that won't be the real reason. They're also doing it because they've got to show that they care about racing, and about they're all about top-notch journalism and sorting out all scams. I get that. But I'm thinking the biggest reason they're doing it by a country mile is that the Racing Post really is funded by the bookmakers. The bookmakers are funding the Racing Post. I think the bookmakers help the racing channels, Racing TV, Sky Sports Racing, ITV Racing. Maybe they did to an extent with Channel 4, but I would imagine knowing the 2 boys that ran Channel 4, they had more about them and probably wasn't puppets for the betting industry, or not as much as the racing TV stations are today. But I look at things and I think to myself, the bookies just want it their way with absolutely everything. And I know they're running what you'd call legitimate businesses. I know they're paying taxes. I get all of that. But at the back of my mind, all I'm thinking to myself is the bookmakers, they just won't let you get a bet on if you're doing well. And I don't mean massively well, I mean reasonably well. They'll start by limiting your stakes and then they'll close your accounts. As I say, you go to a bookmaker, you win with your first 2 or 3 bets, you win a couple of £100. Again, they're closing your account and limiting your stakes. And I'm thinking, in the old days, you could have a bet back and two and back, and I thought, it's all gone. I seen something on betting people the other day. I don't know if any of you watched that series. I think it's a fantastic series. I don't watch it as much as I should, but I've seen something on there. Is it Dickie Valentine? Maybe it's Valentine. I can't remember his name. He did 2 parts. It was supposed to be 4. They've only done 2 parts. If you've not seen it, have a watch of it. It's brilliant. He's one of the only punters that I've ever heard answer some questions reasonably honestly, more honestly than anybody else. That he won't tell you what he's betting per day or per week and what he's winning or losing. They never do. But he's actually saying he can win up to £1,000 with certain bookies. He's got an agreement with certain bookies where he can win up to £1,000, and I thought, well, that's all well and good. I wish we all had that kind of agreement, but I know where they're coming from. He's supposed to be a shrewd and good at his job. They're letting him win that amount of money, but if he's going on a horse, no doubt they're shaving it half a point or whatever else because they think he knows something that they don't know. So it's working for them. And I'm thinking £1,000 is not a lot if you're a professional punter. But then I'm thinking, well, if he's betting with 8 different bookies and there's £8,000. He also does say he's got other people putting bets on for him, as everybody in the industry seems to do. I get 4 or 5 people putting bets on for me, and I'll get done. These professional punters have loads of people doing it, and sort of it's water for ducks back. They just get away with it, which all sounds wrong. You've got these betting companies and they're sponsoring the racing stables. Nicky Henderson's a mouthpiece for them, and then on the TV you've got Chapman, you've got Nick Lucky, you've got all these people, and I'm thinking none of these people on the TV channels are gonna step up to the plate and talk in a negative fashion about these bookmakers, because they're all getting paid coin, all of them. And I'm thinking the whole thing stinks. At the end of the day, the bookies want it all their own way. And when it's not going their way, they have others doing their bidding for them, trying to make the overall playing field even easier for them. They've got it easy as it is. They won't let us win. They'll let us lose. They're happy to take your money and you're losing. They won't let you win. But when other betting sites come to the fore, regulated or not, when they come to the fore trying to provide a service for people that can't get bets on, they want them closed down too. They want, as I say, they want it all for themselves. And I think to myself, why can't it go through Parliament where you don't have to show all your documentation, you don't have to show all your bank statements if you're of a certain age, and you bet with it for a certain length of time with various bookmakers and they know your history? That should happen in Parliament. But then what the bookmakers should also do is say, right, we're going to allow everybody now to win X amount per day, per bet or per week, and everybody should be off the same hymn sheet. Again, that's not going to happen either, is it? But I don't know, I know I'm rambling, I'm just going on, but I just think the whole thing stinks. I just think, we love the industry, we love the game, and we're being hamstrung all the time, I don't know. As I say, this post thing sounded a great thing. I thought, well, if I was putting £1,000 on this Cheltenham, and I'm not saying whether I am or not, but if I was, I wouldn't mind jumping on board there and getting it matched, especially if they were going to pay me out, and I knew they were going to pay me out. And you've got to think, well, if they are legit, and we don't know whether or not they are, but if they are, and they have got people within the industry betting with them, you've got to probably think you're going to get paid out. Because as I say, I can open a new account with Coral or Ladbrokes tomorrow, and my first couple of horses can win, and they can just close the account up. So all of a sudden I've got no facility to bet at Cheltenham. I know I've rambled, folks, but the whole thing I found disappointing. If you get the chance, go on the Racing Post and listen. I think there's 4 parts, but I've listened to the first two parts sting. You've got Lee Mottershead ringing as a punter, asking the whys and wherefores of it, and how does it work, and how do you get your bets on, and so on and so forth. Then you've got him in part 2 ringing up as Lee Mottershead from the Racing Post. He doesn't start with that. He tells you that further down the line when the guy asks who he is, and then he comes clean. But early on within part 1 that it's Lee Mottershead, because you can tell the voice. I'm surprised the guy didn't, being as I was in the industry, because I could pretty quickly. But I just think it's pretty disappointing, really. It's, as I say, the Racing Post, I don't think they're doing it for the right reasons. I think they're doing it because the betting companies have got them to do it. Because, as I say, without the betting companies, I don't think the Racing Post would be here. And it's just a shame. It's like the Racing Post, the price-wise, they push him all the time. He's a brilliant, Tom Seagal, brilliant tipster, absolutely brilliant. The betting companies tell him, or tell the Racing Post, which races they want him to review. They don't mind him picking the winners. In fact, they want him to, but they'll only let us all have £20 each on. And I just think, well, the whole thing is crazy. You know, it's... I don't know. They run everything. They run everything and they want everything their own way. And when things aren't going their own way, they kick up a fuss, they'll out the pram, and they want things changed to suit themselves. And again, I know I'm rambling, folks. I just find it all disappointing. I really do. It's the dodgiest industry of the lot. It's an industry we love, but horse racing and betting with these gambling companies, it's a terrible industry, and it's all rigged on behalf of the gambling companies and not ourselves, and it's a shame. Anyway, I know what I say, and I keep saying I know I've rambled, so I'll stop now, but it was the biggest thing I come across over the weekend, and the most disappointing thing. When I read it was disappointing. When I heard the tapes, I thought, that's really poor, that. Anyway, let me know what you think.